Hello, hello. How are you today? Time for yet another episode of my not quite the weekly Wednesday live Q&A. Yeah, welcome everyone. My name is Juha Ruokangas, your humble servant, on a mission from the gods, from the goddesses of fretted instruments. Happy to see you online. Drop those comments to the chat so I know who's there. In the meanwhile, I hope the connection is working fine. It's so silent. Maybe there's longer latency than usual. Hey, Hannu, Mibu. Hey, Tuomas. Keep them coming. In the meanwhile, let's begin with some music. Let's see if you recognize this song. There you go. Did you recognize the song? Write to the chat. Not revealing it yet. Maybe you recognize the song. The player Antti Parako, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, a nylon-stringed Ruokangas guitar. There you have it. Well, the idea for such a guitar came from my client, from my friend Joe Caruso from Florida. Joe already owned several guitars from us by then by contacting us about this idea. He asked me if it would be possible for us to make him a super strat style instrument with nylon strings. And to tell you the truth, first I turned the idea down. It might be that I even turned it down twice or three times. Well, because that is where we draw the line, kind of. We don't make one-offs. One-off meaning guitars outside our model selection that require all this intense R&D, research and development. That takes a lot of time, which then raises the build cost for that one-off instrument crazy high. In other words, such a project would only make sense if we would then plan to include this instrument in one way or the other to our catalog, so it's available for others to available to order, and the build cost for the first one, or the R&D, is well kind of thought out in a normal way, and the guitar of that first one is at least more in line with our normal guitars, if that term is correct. What is the questions? Hey, come on, there's Stefan is here, Lucky Leaks is here, Hello. Keep on, it says, what guitar brand? What guitar brand? I hate classical guitar, too wide fretboard. Now I have 48 millimeter, not much better for your hand. I don't quite understand your question. What brand? But anyways, maybe you'll explain. Okay, back to the topic. Well, this particular idea by my friend to make a nylon string guitar for him, when he explained it further and further, and he was very persistent, it kind of fell just on that line. On one hand, it did require quite a bit of back and forth on the R&D front, but on the other hand, Joe's wishes were lining up pretty nicely with our existing Eon artist model. So after a bit of reconsideration and persuasion from Joe, yes, I was curious too. I decided we'd go for it. This is about a year ago, and here it is, the guitar named Eon Monarch, named Eon Monarch by the client. Okay, let's listen to some more music. I have some nice clips for you here. Here we go. There you go. More music by Antti Paranko. As far as I know, this one was an improvisation by him in that very moment. The first one he played, that one was Sing by Eric Clapton. If you look that up, Sing by Eric Clapton. Yeah, as far as I know, this was an improvisation by Antti in that moment. That's the kind of guy Antti Paranko is, This day when the recordings were done, so I called him up. I drove to his studio with a guitar that he had never held in his hands. We had some coffee. I'm having some coffee now. Are you having coffee? We set up the rig for recording. Antti and me chatting this and that. Antti picked up the guitar, played for a few minutes, and said, okay, let's record. And then this stuff just started to come out. It's kind of unbelievable to observe that happening with a talented, daring professional. Mibu asks, is the fretboard flat like on a classical guitar? No, it has a radius. It has a radius. Yeah. I'm just thinking. I can't for the life of me remember whether the radius is 12 or 16, but let me check. It's 16. Yeah, 16-inch radius there. I forgot to say, goes without saying, of course, obvious when we're listening to music, but if you have a chance to listen with headphones or nice speakers perhaps, or whatever, you'll get more out of it. But yeah, if not right now, later perhaps go back to listen to those clips. And yeah, I think it's a pretty nice sounding guitar, isn't it? Yeah, Lucky Licks is asking microphone system all LR bags. No, it's not, but we'll get back to that in a few minutes. Yeah. Hannu says the first nylon electric I saw was a Korean-made Phoenix in the mid-90s, so by no means a new concept, but a really nice guitar. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good correction, actually. If I wasn't clear about it, that yeah, this is not this is not a new concept per se. In general, it is just a new concept for us and for me personally. So thank you, Hannu, for mentioning. Okay, Greg is having a pale ale Christmas beer. Cheers, Greg. I still have your these thingies here, these throat pastilles. How do you call them? Yeah, they work. Deja Voodoo says, I bet it plays like a dream. I've always found nylon strings quite comfortable under the finger, and I can imagine that design being ultra efficient and smooth. Well, yeah, it's totally its own world with the nylon strings. Stefan asks, does not sound like a solid body to me. Is it? Is it? Good question. We'll get to that in a while. Okay, I gotta bring this up because in the name of marketing, Deja Voodoo says, not that it's competing in the same market, but wow, that blows the Acoustasonic out of the water. By Acoustasonic, he's referring to the Fender Acoustasonic guitar. They're a pretty new design. Thank you. Glad to hear that. But I agree, it's not competing in the same market. Miku says, I'm in my studio, it really sounds great. And then he corrects, I meant the guitar. The guitar sounds great, but I bet your studio sounds great too. I would love to visit your studio one day. Lucky Leaks asks, what strings are on it currently? Okay, guys, we're getting into those questions. Deja Voodoo is asking the same thing, the solid body question. We're getting to that stuff. Yeah, okay. The name of the guitar, Eon Monarch. That was a suggestion by the customer. The butterfly inlay. Let me show you. Maybe the butterfly inlay doesn't show so well in the videos, but I have a bunch of pictures here. There you go. The butterfly inlay is made of the same wood as the top of the guitar. And what wood is that? Let's get into that also in a second. Yeah, we made this this butterfly inlay out of a cutout of the top wood, 12th fret. So let's talk about the guitar. First, the body and the neck material. Well, some of you are familiar with the fact that I found, quote unquote, found Spanish cedar. the wood species we use a lot in Ruokangas guitar bodies and necks. I found it originally from the world of classical guitar. Classical guitar necks have been traditionally made of this wood. Kind of funny trade name, the Spanish cedar, as we talk about a tree that does not grow in Spain and is not a true cedar. The scientific name Cedrela odorata is more truthful, translating to smells like cedar. Cedrela odorata smells like cedar, which is very true. Anyway, yeah, I just love to use Spanish cedar in our guitars. It's so lightweight, so responsive, and yet it is also extremely rigid, which is a great feature in tone wood. So it's kind of a circle closing, isn't it? You know, me finding the wood when apprenticing to a luthier specialized in classical guitars, started making electric guitars out of this very material, and now then all these years later, well, the Eon Monarch is not a classical guitar, but a nylon-stringed solid body guitar. There it came, solid body guitar made of made of this traditional material for classical guitars. So that's intriguing. For me it is. Anyways, you know. I like that reference, that story arc of Spanish cedar, you know, putting it now nylon strings into the guitar. So yeah, the guitar has a neck through body construction. So let's look at a few more nice photographs. Wait a minute. Where are the photos again? There. Oh, okay. So I need to do something to that photo. It's so big. Does it move? Can I make it smaller somehow? I can. Even smaller. Okay, there is the famous fancy armchair photo that many of our customers are looking forward to see when their new guitar is ready to ship. Yeah. There it is. Let's look at another. There you see the front a bit closer. Yeah. If there's someone who doesn't know, let's state it hereby again that none of these nice photographs would be possible without our Emma Maria Elftorp, that is. So thank you, Emma, for the photographs. Yeah, I have a picture of the back, but I feel that I need to tweak that. Okay, that came fine. There's the whole back side of the guitar. I think I have a one that, okay, there you can see the neck part of it, the neck through body. Yeah, so both the body and the neck of the guitar are made of Spanish cedar. Here you can see that the neck through body joint the guitar has, it's a glossy finish otherwise, but the back of the neck was done satin. Also a request, a wish by the customer. A good choice, I feel. The top wood, well, most of you know that we use more or less exclusively Arctic birch tops. But not this time. The initiative for this specific species of wood came from the customer. He suggested to go with redwood, and I knew he liked, that's an understatement, he loved redwood. He had talked about it so many times. He owned a Nick Huber guitar with a redwood top. And I have to say that my gut feeling was that this particular guitar might actually benefit from the properties of redwood. Redwood is super light as well. It's like, okay, Spanish cedar can be at its very lightest, it can be pretty light, but redwood is very light. And sometimes a guitar can be too responsive. Electric guitar can be too responsive. I feel that the Arctic birch is like the absolute perfect complement, the combo to use steel stringed electric guitar, normal electric guitar with the Arctic birch and Spanish cedar. But yeah, so I was curious to use redwood, and yeah, so I'll show you a picture out there. That's the top wood, and yeah, it is a solid body guitar with nylon strings that, well, nylon strings don't quite have the same kind of energy as the steel strings of an electric guitar do when you feed the energy with your fingers by picking notes. And so to make the absolute most out of it regarding dynamics and response, I wanted to make the instrument super light, as light as I ever could. And so we went with redwood top. Gut feeling. We went with the gut feeling with this one. The fretboard is made of ebony. Yes, we could have made a lighter something else fretboard, but well, this one, like the Spanish cedar, it's another nod to the tradition of classical guitar making, of course. Ebony providing a specific feel and this excess rigidity to the neck of a classical guitar. Okay, classical guitars do not have a truss rod. This guitar has a truss rod, but in any case, we wanted to go with ebony. It felt like a good choice, and the bridge. I should have a picture of that too. There you see the close-up of the bridge, also made of ebony, and the saddle, and the nut. Let me show you the nut. Well, you've seen guitar nuts before, but the bridge saddle and the nut are made of moose shin bone. Not an obvious material to most makers, but in our case, it's kind of one of those little niche things that we're known for. Why? Well, there's an article about it on our website about the guitar nut bones, and another one of the Spanish cedar for those who are interested in. I forgot that there for quite a while. Let's see. I have here a question. How are the strings locked to the bridge? Very good question, because I was just about to go there. But let me prolong the excitement, and we can first listen to another clip of music. Somebody says, great looking bridge. Yeah, I like that, the carve, because it kind of binds together with a lot of our designs, a lot of the headstock designs especially. So pretty happy with that. Okay, so more music. This one is Antti's composition, one of my personal favorite pieces of Antti's music. The original song, it has lyrics based on a poem, and Antti has composed the music to this poem, and I really love this song, and I specifically asked Antti to play this with the nylon-stringed guitar when I was there doing those clips with him, recording those clips. So here we go. beautiful, just beautiful. The song is called Hattu kallellaan. Hattu kallellaan. What's a good translation to that? Help me out in the chat, you the Finnish dudes or dudettes. Hattu kallellaan. There was some question I wanted to get back. Santanist. Is this a one-off or could there be more? Online perhaps. Sweet looking thing overall. Thank you. Well, yeah, this is actually, I would have told you later if I already didn't. Might be that I already did, but yeah, we are, the idea is that this is available to order. This is available to order, and for now, I mean, it is obviously, it is a prototype, and for this particular model Eon Artist, or as we call the nylon string guitar, the Eon Monarch. Yeah, it is something that is available to order. So there you go. Puninja says nylons have a sound you just can't get with steel strings. Well, that's perfectly right. Søren says sounds great. Which amp is he using? He's using an AER. Very simple AER acoustic guitar amplifier, and very simple setup. The recording was done with a single Shure SM57 microphone. As far as I remember, there was pretty much nothing, no pedals other than perhaps some tiny bit of echo, something like that in between. And then some post-production, I don't know, but very simple basic procedure. So that's pretty much, I mean, that's the guitar as in its natural format, as you can hear. Okay, here comes a question I was afraid that somebody might ask. Do you have redwood in stock? Well, we do have a little bit. You need to understand that this is a year ago. This was outside, completely outside our comfort zone. But we have a little bit. But yeah. Puninja says, is Flamingo shred, because those folks can get a pretty high BPM on nylon. Yeah, well, that's the thing. We'll get to that kind of stuff later about the when we talk about the neck and the action and all that stuff. So hold on for a moment. I have to reveal that on this video I don't. I mean, the title of the stream was that something about shredding, wasn't it? Can I shred with a nylon string guitar? But Antti is not a shredder guitarist per se, and he didn't doesn't shred on these clips that I have for you to share. But you will see one or two different kinds of things, and you can make up your own mind. You know, what can you do with it? And I think it's by now it's fairly safe to say that yes, of course, you can shred with it. The result, the sound, and the feel, and everything is of course different from a steel stringed electric guitar. But hey, it's another tool in your toolbox. So, Deja Voodoo says plenty of touch sensitive dynamics. Well, that's one of those things that yeah, there's a good translation. TJ says Hattu kallellaan, a tipped hat or something. That's good. That's perfect. I was trying to think of but yeah, Hannu says the same. Tipped hat. Thank you guys. Kipunen says headstock covers amp name. Now I'm listening with studio headphones. Great sound. Well, it's AER. I think on on the left side of Antti, the upper corner, this corner. When the next clip comes, you will see big AER. They're not advertisements, but I think they are his amp cases. But anyways, so there you can see the name. All right. Yeah, one of the things that I was a bit worried when planning this build was the neck width and the string spacing. You see, Joe, the customer, he wished to have it all as electric guitar-like as possible. You know, with low action, with neck profile tailored for shredding, like electric guitar neck. It's like totally an electric guitar neck, low action, everything. I mean, as someone, Hannu, pointed out earlier, this is not a new concept in any means to have a nylon string electric guitar. But a lot of those guitars, not probably all of them, but a lot of them, like for example, Sadowski has a nylon string solid body guitar in their lineup. It's kind of a Telecaster inspired thing. I think it's the one that Pat Metheny plays, is in it. But the neck specs, when I'm looking at it on the website and things, it looks like more like a bit of a mix between an electric. It's definitely wider than a standard electric guitar would be. So it's kind of a mix between an electric and a classical guitar, and that seems to be the case with many of what I've seen available. The kind of these hybrid guitars. The idea is like a solid body guitar for a classically trained guitarist. But with the Eon Monarch, the idea was totally the opposite. You know, let's make a nylon string guitar for the electric guitar player. And this is the part that made me a bit worried, because, you know, would there be enough space for playing chords, and how low could the action be while still having, you know, healthy dynamic range, you know, when you're picking lightly, picking hard, so you can get all that healthy dynamics going on. And the way we tested this in an early stage, this was about a year ago, which was probably one of those kind of the last stages of still kind of contemplating whether we take this order on or not. So I strung up my personal Mojo King guitar. It even has a whammy bar, you know, and I strung that with nylon strings. I made some knots to the one ends of the strings, and so I could tie them to the sustain block from under, and whatever, like a temporary fixture. Okay, in that guitar we couldn't make an amplified sound with it because the guitar only has magnetic pickups, but I was able to play it, have others play it, and you know, on that experience, based on that experience, we could determine that yes, okay, we could try to make this one with our standard electric guitar neck measurements. And most likely, notice, most likely, if my gut feeling was right, the guitar would deliver what the client desired. You know, and it would be possible indeed that, you know, that you wouldn't have that, because nylon strings are the gauges are bigger. They're fatter strings, so you have kind of less space between the strings, and playing, especially if you want to play classical music, finger picking classical music with a guitar with all the chord changes and everything, you know, it's quite a different guitar from a classical instrument. Yeah, so in the end, the Eon Monarch made for my client Joe Caruso, it features a standard flat C neck profile, 43 millimeters wide at nut, 19 millimeters thick at first fret, 21 millimeters at 12th fret, with jumbo-sized stainless steel frets. So it's different. And yeah, and the guitar, I have here questions about scale length. It's 25.5. It's just the standard Fender scale length. So it's a little bit like here. Someone says, Mibu says the string length is longer than classical, so I believe you use different strings. We'll get to the strings in a minute. Because it's actually kind of, you could think of it almost the other way. When you have a longer scale length, the strings will be tighter than they would in a shorter scale length. We'll get to the type of strings in a second. What else was there? Deja Voodoo, your design has a bridge that is more faithful to the traditional design, of course. Yes, the bridge design is yeah. Deja Voodoo says, did you come across the Malmsteen Fender Strat nylon in your research? I did not. I did not see that. Maybe I should have. But anyways. Keep on says, what is interesting is sustain, so melody notes can last longer than basic classical guitar. Well, let's see what we have, what kind of clips we have there coming. It is still, of course, I mean, it is nylon strings, and they have their own way of vibrating, and like, let's say, theoretically speaking, having a solid body guitar where the top of the guitar doesn't act as an air pump as a classical guitar top would do, meaning that the top is moving up and down with the vibration. This also consumes energy from the string, from the sustain, and when you put nylon strings to a solid body guitar, then theoretically speaking, they should ring longer. Deja Voodoo says nylon strings really seem to oscillate a lot too, making it difficult for super low action. Well, that's an interesting thing. That's where I'm also kind of, yeah, it's we'll get to that. If there's a shortage of redwood available, then does the Finnish forest have a tone relative to redwood, and keep on pushing the envelope? I'm loving my unicorn artisan more day by day. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you could say that instead of redwood, it would be possible to use lightweight pine, for example, or spruce. So there you go. I mean, there are, of course, options to this type of, like, similar type of super light top wood. Keep on, it says it has two-way truss rod, no problem with high tension strings. Yeah, well, we always use two-way truss rods. Hello, Ukraine rock. Welcome. We're doing well. How are you doing? Yeah, let's take the next clip of music. We talked about a little bit about dynamics. There was questions about action and stuff. So in this next one, Antti's demonstrating the dynamics. Well, you can of course hear in all the clips the dynamic behavior of the guitar, but this time pay attention to it. Okay. Yeah. Take the next clip. Thank you, Antti. Very nice clips. Very nice clips. Another improvisation. There on the spot. Play something. And he just plays. It's crazy. On one take. Most of the clips. One take. Done. Stefan suggests, or just all Spanish theater referring to the top thing. Yes, indeed. Well, so there you go. When you make a prototype, trusting your gut feeling, you're gonna make the prototype in one way, and that's what I kind of meant in the very beginning. That if you want to dive in and start making the research and development, what are the options? What are the possibilities? Where all the ways how you can make it better, improve it, or maybe, or just experiment so you know what is the better choice. It's a spectrum of possibilities, and so it's a career, You could concentrate on making that nylon-stringed solid body guitars and nothing else. I guess. I mean, that's the way would kind of to get to the absolute bottom of it. Lots of possibilities. The strings, okay. The strings are D'Addarios. They are D'Addario folk nylon stringed, nylon strings, and this was a proposition by the customer. He wanted to try these strings for the guitar. We went with his gut feeling with this, so he wanted this folk nylon string guitars. I don't know if that was more for the sound of it or more for what, because we had to make choices based on preferences, like sometimes pragmatic preferences, that okay, how do we want to build the bridge? How are we going to mount the strings to the bridge? And this is where Joe came up with the idea that let's use D'Addario folk nylon strings, because they have ball ends. Rather, so you put them like in a Telecaster from the back of the guitar, rather than tying them around the bridge like in the classical guitars typically. Let me show you that picture. I think I should. Yes, I do have a picture of that. There you go. It's the back of the guitar, and you can kind of see there the ball end nylon strings. Yeah, so a specific wish by the client. He wanted the string mount to be as simple, as straightforward as possible. And this, his idea, I liked it because simply mounting the strings through the body like in a Telecaster, it's just simple, it's effective, and I had a really good feeling about this design. Also regarding the energy transfer from the strings to the body, waking up the body of the instrument, maybe better. But we haven't made any other kind of bridge, so I wouldn't know if it's better. Disclaimer there again, a prototype is a prototype. What else? Well, the guitar has lightweight hip shot open tuners, open back tuners. Let me show. I have a picture of that for you too. There you go. And I can tell you a story that we bought a set of these hip shot tuners. I was thinking that let's put staggered tuners, so the angle gets kind of shorter towards the higher strings. higher notes. And we mounted those tuners to the guitar, and then we realized that can't do locking tuners don't work, or staggered non-locking tuners don't work. And the problem is not the weight. Well, there are pretty lightweight locking tuners as well available, but the staggered, I mean, the post is so short that you need to remember that classical guitar strings, they stretch a lot when you just wind them around the tuner. And if you think of a classical guitar tuner, the posts in a classical guitar, they are big. You have the slotted headstock and the posts. You roll the strings around. They're big and they go there many rounds. And it's because even though you kind of pull it all, straight through, as short as possible, and you start tightening the strings, tuning it up, the string stretches a lot. So it minimum is going to roll around those little electric guitar tuners several rounds, and it needs higher posts. You can't use staggered post because the post is too damn short. Same thing with the locking tuners. And so we needed to order another set of Hipshot open back tuners without the staggered feature. And that worked. So that's just one simple example of what research and development is about. Sometimes you know things beforehand, and sometimes you learn them the hard way, spending more money. And yeah. I'm getting a lot of compliments about the sound, bass notes, blooms, the tonal balance between the strings is also great. Great playing by Antti. Well, I can agree to that 100%. Very nice dynamics. Puninja talks about me being a Black Sabbath fan, which I am. But I listen to a lot of different kinds of music. The type of music I've been listening to lately is actually, I've been listening to the whole catalog of Julian Bream's classical guitar. I have a box of 40 CDs of Julian Bream, his whole career. And I've been, in my office days, that's what I've been listening. Julian Bream and classical guitar. I think it's a pure coincidence with the nylon-stringed guitar referral to the Julian Bream, listening to Julian Bream. But it's a very, very nice gift I got already a while back from my dear friend Holger Hahnenkamp, regards to Musikhaus Jever to Germany, our long-time dealer, friend, agent from Germany, has sold I don't know how many hundreds of guitars for us in Germany. Yeah, so I got a gift, Julian Bream's box whole production. That's what I've been listening to lately. What else we have here? We have lots of comments again, which I love. That's great. Keep them coming. Deja Voodoo says, design challenge indeed. I've had some nylons that take a week to stretch out properly. That's right. Well, nylons take always days, as far as I know. I'm not the best expert on this. I've built one classical guitar when I was still a rookie, a student, was apprenticing to classical guitar makers. Like I mentioned, I had already by then I had built one classical guitar, and we've repaired classical guitars back in the day, and so. But I'm not the best expert on classical instruments, classical guitars, I have to say. But I know that nylon strings take a lot of time to stretch. Last but not least, I almost forgot. Let's talk about the pickup and the electronics. So let me show you first another clip from Antti's demo session. See, I might need to find the right place if I didn't. This is a kind of an unnecessarily long clip otherwise. But let's see for a little while what comes. Okay. There you go. So let's break that down a bit. Well, you already kind of saw what the controls do. There's the volume pot that Antti didn't use in that clip much, or at all. But there's the other pot, which is called tone by the maker of the preamp. But unlike the traditional tone of an electric guitar, this one is it's at one extreme, more or less like natural flat EQ, what comes out of the guitar basically, and in the other extreme there's a bit of mid scooping happening, making the highs and lows appear more apparent, like a kind of like a softer more kind of velvety, a little bit scooped thing, and obviously, as Antti stated, also when playing, he found his personal favorite sweet spot somewhere there in between the extremes. So the extremes are the extremes, but there's a lot of musical ground on the whole spectrum of that EQ circuit. And then there's that additional two-way switch to kick in a bit mids, or kind of lower mids. And when you switch it off, it kind of like there's a low cut switch. It's not a low cut per se. It's more to do with how the mids behave. So this is a pretty straightforward Fishman undersaddle piezo element with an onboard preamp, also Fishman. And yeah, we didn't use what was the brand that somebody mentioned there in the beginning? I can't remember. Somebody said a brand. I can't remember. LR bags. Yeah, we wanted to go with this one because this is designed for the preamp is designed, and the whole system is designed for a classical guitar. So the preamp is tweaked a little bit differently. So it's a Fishman Matrix Infinity something. It's meant for classical guitar, and it means that we had to modify it. We couldn't use the onboard preamp as it was to fit to a solid body guitar. This was really like a challenge if we wouldn't want to go to the route of developing our own proprietary preamp system for the guitar. To find something that is practical for a solid body guitar, where you want normal pots on the top of the instrument rather than some kind of slider thing on the side of the guitar, or little trimmer pots that are sticking out from the acoustic guitar sound hole, from the under the sound hole, or something like that. So we wanted just normal pots and switches. So what we ended up doing in the end, we bought a few of those Fishman systems, active electronics. Yes, Kipon is asking, there is it active? Yeah, it's with 9-volt battery, and yeah. So we bought a few of those sets of Fishman electronics, and we gutted them. We gutted the preamp module. We kind of exploded into pieces and replaced some parts. Replaced the tiny trimmer pots and switches with full size proper, heavy duty components. So we have the controls on the guitar top rather than peeking out of the sound hole of a classical guitar. We also replaced the original plastic jack with a proper Switchcraft component. And so we wanted to do it kind of go this way, because somebody had already done that R&D, making a useful preamp, tweaked for classical guitar, tweaked for preamp, for sculpting, for filtering the piezo, for nylon strings the right way. And I think this one worked out and works very nicely, and turned out very nicely in the guitar, the way we did. Regarding the sound of it, it's all stock Fishman, exactly as Fishman had designed it. We just basically replaced all the moving parts. In other words, all the parts that can wear down. We took all the little plastic thingies away and rebuilt it in that sense. So Antti liked it a lot too. You can make your own judgment on basis of the sound samples. I don't have a guitar for demoing. This one has already shipped to the client, but yeah. So make your own judgment. Leave your comments below to the chat, to the live chat, or later to the video comments. Oh yeah, almost forgot. Can you guess what the guitar weighs? What is the weight of this guitar? Hey, Joe Caruso. Joe has joined us, the owner of this instrument. Welcome, Joe. Great. Joe says, it's the only guitar I have played where either does not have to work around the confines of their instrument. Sure freedom and Godspeed. Either hand, that is. He continues. Thank you, Joe. Okay, we have the first guess. 3 kilograms, says Alexi. Hannu says 2.5. I need to check from my data sheet, which I have next to me. Keep the guesses coming. Joe Caruso, you're not allowed to say the weight because they're guessing 2.7. Okay, keep them coming. I'll take a few more guesses and then I'll reveal the what it is. Yeah, personally, I have to say I'm super happy how the guitar turned out, and I can hereby say that yes, the Eon Monarch is available to order if someone is interested. The guitar in the photographs and in Antti's demos, that's the one we made for Joe, and he has already received the instrument in Florida. Yeah. Okay, now we have a few more here. 1.8, 2.4, 1.75. Okay, I'm going to reveal it. So it's 2.37 kilograms. 2.37, that's 5.22 pounds. 2.37. I swear the first time I picked up the guitar from a workbench, I was kind of feeling that I need to tie it down to the workbench because it felt like it's gonna fly off. It felt so light to me. It's really light. And that's the point of it. Like, making a solid body guitar with nylon strings, you really want to make it. You would need to kind of meet two essential criteria, which is like it needs to be rigid. It needs to be a rigid object. And on the other hand, it needs to be light. It needs to be very light to just for the physics of it, for those nylon strings to be able to move the instrument. If we would have this instrument, the guitar made out of heavier materials, then the nylon strings would only be vibrating and not really much the guitar at all. And this is this is a different kind of outcome. The typical comments on instruments, regardless of what is it. It may be electric guitar, it may be whatever, kind of if only the strings are working. The typical comments I'm hearing is like it's like leaves you cold, it's like sterile, it doesn't kind of have the right feel, and it doesn't, so that's the kind of things. I love these comments about the stuff weighing less on the moon. I love it. Joe, there you have it. If you want it to be lighter, you need to talk to what is the name of the SpaceX guy? I don't want to say his name. But anyways, don't write it to the... Well, you can't write it. But anyway, Kipponen, you were closest. You were? I didn't check, but I believe you. Kipponen was the closest, guessing the weight right. Okay, Stefan, my deepest respect for all that developing and following your and your customers' visions. I'm really impressed. Not every guitar builder could do that. Well, I can't speak for any other. And I nearly turned this one down, and I'm honestly saying that it wouldn't have been the first guitar that I have turned down. So we're not willing to do everything. That's one of the big wisdoms for all of us to remember when we start realizing, getting of age, that time is limited. Because when you're young, I used to think that I can do everything. I there was no limitation in a way. I just felt like I had unlimited amount of time, and if I put my mind and all my might to it, I can do everything. But the reality is that we can't do everything. We may be able to do anything, but not everything. We can do anything, but not everything. So we need to make choices. We need to make those choices, and we definitely cannot do everything in our lives. Punija continues, it's hard for him to gauge earth weight. NASA is in Florida. Yeah, maybe that's better than SpaceX. Yeah, talk to NASA. All right. In fact, I got earlier a little letter from Joe Caruso that he asked me to forward to you guys in this video. Well, Joe is here. He could have told you this himself. So here you go. A direct quote from Joe Caruso, the owner of the first Eon Monarch guitar. Let me check, where do I have that note? Here it is. So from Joe: I have a love of all music as long as it is from the heart. And although I am a multi-instrumentalist, the guitar is my first choice. Amongst other styles, I love to play hard rock and heavy metal, the limitless expression and broken boundaries that came about in the 70s, in the 80s. for our instrument can never be overstated. I found myself driven by rib-busting chords coming out of a wall of Marshalls via Ace, the driving pulse of the best rhythm section in the world, in rock via the Young Bros, but it wasn't until Randy Rhoads that I wanted to investigate the next level. This included several hundreds hours at Grove, a predominantly jazz school where the hammer met the anvil. My love for hard rock and heavy metal remains, however, the sweet sound of clean or distorted nylon strings. Hearing each note clearly as it is delivered is priceless to this former long hair. My friend Juha lamented for 2 years on the decision to build this guitar for me, and I think everyone involved in the process is grateful that he has Viking blood of old coursing through his veins, because it was a courageous act that has taken all of their collective experience to create. It is for this reason that I would only consider this master guitar builder. Sorry, I'm kind of accentuating the wrong words. It is for this reason that I would only consider this master guitar builder. Parenthesis, no other ever entered consideration. Thank you, Joe. I knew he could pull it off. And in so doing, Juha, in my opinion, has created the single most expressive instrument in his catalog to date, weighing in at an implausible 5 pounds. There you have it, 5 pounds. 2.27 kilograms. The Monarch, named after the butterfly superimposed at the 12th fret, may well be the world's most modern style solid body, built for speed and expression. Yours, Joe Caruso. There you go, people. Thank you. What can you say after a letter like that? Nothing. I can say nothing after a letter like that. Better I say nothing after that letter. Thank you, Joe. Let's listen to some more music, some more Antti's playing. A bit of Pat Metheny coming your way. Okay. Well, that put a smile on my face also, not only Antti's own face when he finished that tune. There you go, James by Pat Metheny. That was a good page break, so to speak, for us. Enough said about the guitar. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joe, for pushing the envelope, for pushing me. And thank you so much for my team. You know, there's that mass hypnosis going on, and again, where Juha is the master luthier and Juha is that great inventor and whatever. But let's remember that it's a teamwork, and none of this would work without the people around us, the client, in a very, very important role, the client who wants to buy the instrument from us, so we can keep on making them, and also my team around me. So seriously, I mean, I would be just nothing without these people. So, and try that, in any profession, try making music, try making whatever. If you don't have people around you to listen to it, to work with you, it doesn't go very great. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful, and I don't have any words other than that. Yeah. Enough said about the guitar. Thank you, Joe, for your kind words. Your patience with this project as well. Took a while. Happy that the guitar is now finally signed, sealed, delivered, and it's all yours. Who knows? Maybe we'll make a few more in the future. I can see that clock is ticking. 10:15 p.m. in Finland. So, my dear friends, it's time to say goodnight. And so, by the way, these clips of music and a few more that didn't quite fit to this broadcast, they will be uploaded on as a separate video compilation. It's over 20 minutes of music played with the Eon Monarch. So that's going to be on YouTube as well in the coming days, just in the next few days. And we'll drop some of them as shorter clips to the other social media channels, small portions to Instagram, whatever. So stay tuned on that as well. We'll also be adding the guitar to the spotlight section of our website. So there will be eventually, that will take a little bit longer time, but anyways, it will be there. So you'll have more information about the specifications and all that. I can say that my calendar looks very busy for the coming weeks. Let's see. It's my calendar. It literally says, make sawdust, make sawdust, make sawdust, make sawdust. So it's a busy days producing sawdust. Then it's Christmas and New Year's and what I hope, what I'm sure we all hope from the bottom of our hearts, is that the war in Ukraine would end, that our eastern neighbor would come to their senses, Russia, that is. And this episode is dedicated for you guys, for all of you out there who work hard making music, composing music, recording music, gigging and whatnot, in order to bring joy, consolation, and a feel of unity to our lives, to people's lives in these challenging, difficult, often dark times. Music is so important and so often understated. Yeah. What can I say? Merry Christmas, people. Happy Hanukkah. Whatever parties you're having. Happy New Year 2023 for you all, for us all. Thank you for staying with me in this marathon stream again, and I'm grateful. I love you guys. Until next time, be well, stay safe, and take care of your loved ones. Peace, love, and good music. Good night.